Some people say that they can quickly remember a lot of information by using memory tricks and often visualizing the information. Students who employ memory tricks have been shown to outperform their peers. You can increase the size of your working memory and get to your long-term storage by using memory tricks. Some ideas can be stored in long-term memory using these methods. Finally, these memory techniques allow for comprehension and higher-order thought. As you watch, you'll get an introduction to some useful memory techniques. There are a wide variety of methods available to aid in memory retention beyond just visual and spatial cues. To get an overview of these suggestions, watch this video until the end. A list of 14 effective memory techniques. 1. First, make an effort to absorb the data. It's much simpler to memorize facts and figures if they're presented in a logical structure. Don't rush into memorization if you don't understand the material first. The more you practice memorizing, the easier it will become and the faster you'll be able to learn. Of course, practice will still require some work. 2. It would be fantastic if you could link to it. Make a connection between the material you're trying to remember and something you already know. Material that is not contextualized with other ideas is more challenging to remember. Make up a bizarre association if you can't think of any other way to relate the data to what you already know. Consider the case where you're trying to memorize the fact that seawater boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and those digits also happen to be the first 3 digits of your best friend's phone number. Picture dropping your phone into the boiling water of the ocean to connect the two. Having that bizarre connection may aid in remembering the information. 3. Think it over while you rest. Science has proven that your brain does some serious processing and archiving of data while you sleep. It may help to review material for a short period of time, even a few minutes, right before bed, in an effort to cement it in your memory for the following day. 4. Self-test. Test your knowledge of the material you're trying to learn by having regular recall tests with yourself. Do not just reread your notes or textbook, instead, put yourself through active testing. Students frequently believe they retain information simply because it is familiar upon rereading. Instead, try asking yourself questions about the material, and trying to recall the answers without looking them up. If you know what you're having trouble with, you can use a memory technique to help you learn to retain the information. Also, avoid testing yourself on what you just tried to memorize. Give it some time, at least an hour, but preferably more like a day or two, and see if it has stayed with you. 5. Distributed practice should be used. 2 things are necessary for a concept to be transferred from your working memory to your long-term memory. 1. Its memorability, and 2. Its repetition. You can strengthen your memory by repeatedly reading or hearing something. Methods of reiteration include self-testing, using this video's simple tips, and using flashcards. Spread your review sessions out over multiple days, and gradually lengthen the breaks between them. Spreading it out and gradually increasing the time between repetitions can help us become more confident in our ability to retain the material. 6. Put it in writing. Since there is a direct connection between the hand and the brain, writing seems to help us more deeply encode the information that we're trying to learn. Try taking notes by hand during the lecture or rewriting and rearranging them afterward. Writing down information can help you remember it, but saying it aloud and picturing it can help even more. 7. Form cohesive communities. Forming meaningful groups that simplify the material is an effective method for memorization. Take the case of needing to recall the names of 4 plants: garlic, rose, hawthorn, and mustard. The initials are often shortened to GRHM, which sounds like a graham cracker. With the graham cracker image fresh in your mind, you can easily recall the names of the plants. 8. Take some time to have a conversation with yourself. It may sound silly, but talking out loud to yourself can help you remember what you're trying to memorize. Instead of just highlighting and rereading, try saying aloud what you've learned. 9. Exercise. Seriously. Exercising the brain stimulates the growth of new neurons, including those responsible for memory and learning. Whether you prefer cardio or resistance training, weights, know that both are effective. 10. Interleaving is a skill that needs to be practiced. Interleaving is the mixing and alternating of information that you need to memorize. Memorizing science terms can be followed by a quick shift to history notes and the memorization of important dates and names. After that, you can return to the scientific definitions after you've practiced some math problems. Although this strategy may appear complicated at first, it ultimately produces better results than simply devoting a lot of time to one idea. 11. Articulating ideas through the use of space and vision. Visual and spatial memory techniques are multisensory memory aids. They employ visuals, music, emotion, and bodily sensations to seal our understanding. The visual and spatial recall abilities of the human brain are remarkable. Visual and spatial memory techniques are more effective than traditional memorization methods because they involve active learning and the use of creative strategies to retain information. This enhances recall of sensory details, such as sights, sounds, and smells. Working memory is also unburdened by the use of visual and spatial methods. Associating things helps you remember them in the long run. If your thoughts tend to wander, you can train your brain to pay attention by using visual and spatial techniques. They make learning interesting, engaging, and worthwhile. 12. Still images that stick in your mind. If you have something important to remember, try visualizing it so that you can keep it in mind. The visual and spatial processing areas of your brain are directly activated by seeing an image. By stimulating the visual memory, images assist in the retention of complex ideas. But you don't have to rely solely on visuals. Engaging more of your senses will improve your memory retention even more. Do more than just see an image. Let your sense of smell, touch, and hearing guide you. Think of a young woman named Louise holding a red baton if you need a visual reminder that Baton Rouge is the capital of Louisiana. 13. The Memory Palace Method. The idea behind this method is to use the mental space of a familiar environment, such as your home or dorm room, to store mental images of concepts you wish to retain. Using this method, even something as seemingly unrelated as a grocery list won't be forgotten. The Memory Palace method entails imagining one's living space, be it a home, a dorm room, or a public building, and then placing one's shopping list items in various spots around the room. Think of a bushel of apples sitting on the couch or a cracked egg dripping off the edge of the table. Although it may take some time to adjust to this method, you will find that you can accomplish more in less time once you do. 14. Music and jingles. Songs or jingles use your brain's right hemisphere, like the memory palace and images, and can help us remember difficult things like equations and lists. Look up what you're trying to remember via Google to see if a song has already been written about it, like the many songs about the quadratic formula. If that doesn't work, try creating your own. In conclusion, it may take some practice to become comfortable with these methods. More work will make them second nature, and you'll be able to memorize more material. It is important to keep in mind that you can ignore any of the suggestions here that you find unnecessary. Try out a few different approaches until you find one that works best. If you think this video was helpful in understanding a bit more about human behavior, please make sure you subscribe and push the thumb up button for more videos to come.